And welcome to another edition of 18 Minutes with 180 Markets. Drones. We all know what they are, or most of us do. We see them flying around and we wonder, how are they navigating? How are they finding out where to be? And not only that, what's also incredible is we know that with companies like Amazon, Walmart, even Kohl's down here, they're all discussing how to launch fleets of these drones for faster deliveries. Well, those drones have a secret sauce in the future to really power them and understand how you can run fleets at scale. That's right. There is that technology. It already exists. And that's why I'm so thrilled today to be joined by Yoav Amitai, because Yoav's company, Elsight, is an absolute must find for you viewers if you want to understand about this business and also as an investor, how to profit from it. And with that introduction, Yoav, welcome to 18 Minutes with 180 Markets.
Hi, Greg. Thank you very much for having me. Always nice to be here.
Great. Hey, Yoav, everybody's got a story. In a couple of minutes, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
So from the minute I remember myself, I remember myself as someone who always looked to build stuff and to do stuff, to move some stuff around. Started with some engines, automotives, as when I was really young, doing some motorcycles, and then started to build some other stuff. And I think, that's what takes my personality to be in places that I can do an impact and do a hard impact. And that's also what brought me into Elsight when I was. I'm not one of the founders, but I was introduced to the founders, and I told them back in the day, it was six and a half years ago. I told them, listen, I know nothing about what you guys are doing, but I'm a quick learner, and let's see. And the rest is history. For the last 2.5 years, since I became the CEO, I have a very bright and clear vision of what this company needs to be and how to get it there. And I think we are executing it on a timely basis, showing how we execute this plan. So that's how I started and how I see the future in few words.
Absolutely, Yoav. And we will get onto it. You're already having product market validation and so forth with some of the biggest companies in the world. But before we get to that, as I said, that you have a technology that's very, very different. And I also want people to be very clear and understand, if nothing else, this is different than the drone itself. Can you just tell us about the Elsight product?
Yeah. So first of all, just to make it clear, like you said, we are not a drone manufacturer. We will most probably will never manufacture a drone, and we're not a service provider. We're a technology company that provide technological solutions for challenges and pains in this industry. And by the way, not talking only about drones, talking about uncrewed platforms in general that can be in the air, on the ground, even maritime vehicle. So those vehicles have many challenges that they need to overcome, many different aspects. And what we provide is, if we will, we provide the sticks and shovels to this industry to be able to scale to its full potential. Now, to be more specific on the technology, what is our foot in the door? And it's much wider than that. But in this form, just to give some explanation of what we're doing. So as you said, all those companies that you mentioned before are looking to scale their operation, to send fleets of drones, to be able to serve us as a consumer, or between businesses, to be able to enhance many different industries. By the way, logistics is one of them, but we can talk about many others. Now, it all goes through, or the only way that this industry will scale into the full potential will be only if it will get to what we call in the industry BVLOS, means beyond visual line of sight. Okay, it's an acronym for beyond visual line of sight, which have two folds. One of them is how far those platforms can travel, literally from the operator, how far it can travel. Speak about delivery, for example. So not only for 2, 3, 5 kilometers, but go to 20, 25, 30 kilometers.
Okay.
That's one. More important than that, like you said, is how many different platforms a single operator will be able to operate. So if it will, today, most of the cases are single operator, a pilot, have a remote control in his hands and control a single drone on the other side. That will be very hard to show an economical sense, or the unit economics won't make sense in terms of scalability, because we need somehow to take the labor factor outside of the equation, right?
Right.
And that's exactly what we do. So those two folds require highly reliable communication to be able to control them. Like you said in the beginning, those drones are flying around, travel around. How do we know who is sensing them, who is monitoring them? if it needs to get control, how you can take control. And the only way to do it is by having what we call connection confidence, making sure that every second that the operator will want to intervene or to do some change, he will have the access to do it. And that's require very reliable communication. And that's our secret sauce is in there, being on the center or in the heart of those systems, providing them this reliable communication, or like I call it before, connection confidence, to be able to scale their business and to scale it in a way that a single operator will be able to operate basically unlimited number of units that require a lot of additional technologies and autonomy and everything. But that's the holy grail for this industry to scale to its full potential.
Right. And that certainly makes a lot of sense, Yoav, on the first point. The second is what I would call validation. Can you just talk to us a little bit about companies that you are involved with, and especially to the degree that you can, but that really are validating that you have a unique product that is not so simple to build, is it?
Yeah, so that's right. We call it, in the tech industry, we call it product market fit. Product market fit means that we have customers that are willing to pay to the product. We understand that if we come to a customer or to a prospect, they will say, I have this aha moment of, where have you guys been all this time? This is the solution I was looking for. And that's
Right.
when you know that you are in the right place. You have this product market fit. And then as a small company who just started in the field 2.5 years ago in this field, you're always looking for those validation points, or how do I know that I'm in the right place or providing the right value to those customers. And every client that you are securing, every partner that started to work or build their solution based on your product, provide you those this level of confidence and comfortness that you're in the right direction. And today, after 2.5 years after we launched the product, or a little less than 2 years actually, since we launched the product, we have more than 90 design wins, meaning company that design their product around our solution. Some of them are the biggest project globally, like you said, and I will mention just a few of them. And that makes the validation very strong for us. And it makes the competition much harder to sneak in or to penetrate into those clients.
Sure.
And part of our go-to-market strategy. So just to mention some of our clients, it's starting with, as an example, Speedbird in Brazil, who are doing healthcare services, or Sprite, which is a company sub entity of Air Methods, a big aviation corporation in the US. Our biggest project today, we are partnering with a company called DroneUp. They're doing all the drone services for Walmart, like you said before. So all their deliveries, I just saw yesterday a LinkedIn post that they overcome 10,000 deliveries for consumers. That's the number that Walmart published yesterday, doing it already in 6 different states, and it's growing as we speak. So once you have the feeling, and those are only 3 examples, I can talk about example public safety, companies who are doing for police, or they call it drone as a first responders. Again, instead of sending a police vehicle, they sending a drone as an example, or for inspection, for grid line inspection or power line inspection, replacing full-size helicopters. And literally, this industry is very diverse in terms of use cases. And the good thing about our technology is that everyone requires highly reliable communication. And that's how we have, like I said, I call it before, the sticks and shovels, because everyone needs it to be able to scale their operation. So that's how we get the confidence of our validation and product market fit.
Yeah, and certainly it's a lot more important in your field than, say, here, where we may have a little bit of a wobbly internet connection. No, nothing really happens. Nobody gets hurt. In your case, obviously, it's mission critical. We were talking about, or you mentioned product market fit. And yes, it's an aha moment, but there's also a long sales cycle. And once you are in, though, can you just talk about the stickiness of the clients then?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say that actually it's part of our go-to-market strategy. So we took a reference from Intel, which you can take a lot of references between Elsight and Intel. You can call it, we're inside those platforms without saying Intel inside, right? But we're inside of everything. But we also took,
that's correct,
Intel stated in the 70s, they call it design win strategy. That was John Doerr's team, and the folks that founded Intel basically say that we are in a competition to have as many as possible PC makers to make their PC based on Intel chipset. And we took it to Elsight and we say, we're currently on a race to get as many customers, as many partners, we call them, as possible to design their system around our system, which will make it a design win. And it's have multiple folds. One is starting with the engineering and building their system around our infrastructure, because it's not only a hardware piece that sits into those drones. It's a full infrastructure that you are relying all your operation basically based on this infrastructure. And that's how we work with all of our customers. Then it goes through, we're working in a highly regulated environment. So we're going through doing all the certification and everything with those platforms. And that's a long, long process. So looking on it from the decision maker standpoint, for him, that can become a very hard decision to make to replace it because of the level of stickiness, like you said. Now, I just want to make sure that it's clear for our audience or to the listeners. It doesn't mean that we can stand still and say, okay, we put enough and now let's put all our effort in the sales and marketing. That's what we do. But we, sorry, as a company, as a tech company, constantly developing and constantly investing in research and developing and making sure that we have this gap. We are in the front of the technology, and we have this gap that remains from the rest of the industry. Once competition will be stronger and will get stronger, and we are seeing it happening, and we're waiting for it to happen. But we have both the commercial advantage and the technological advantage, and both together with the design win concept makes it very hard to compete.
You already are aware that if you have a great idea, somebody inevitably will copy it. But from what I'm hearing, having that design win and a commercialization strategy, and like we said, a long sales cycle, it means that it's, even if somebody has an idea, it's not so easy to implement it, is it?
Yeah, so I can give you examples, specific example. We do have, actually, we know about one company that we just know them because we were in touch with them that tried to develop something similar to us. It's a US-based company. They just fell short and they couldn't deliver a product. They had some nice prototype and everything that it would never came into production because it's hard. First, the learning curve is very complex because what you said before, it's not a typical communication that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For us, we need to provide the highest SLA because if it doesn't work, it's a game over. Those units will need to go back home or to stay there or to crash, worst comes to worst. And it's not something that we want to carry on our backs, of course. So it's really hard on the technological side, but also in the go-to-market and everything, just like you said, because of the stickiness, it makes it much, much harder to get there. And again, we do see a competition. We have a competition. I always say that company that says that they don't have competition either don't know their market or in the wrong place, because if you don't have any competition, you're doing something wrong, right? Yes. So we certainly have a competition. We don't have a direct competition in the sense of companies who are trying to solve a solution the way we solve it and provide the value we provide. So that's why we are feeling in a good position in terms of that, right? This market.
And as shareholders, Yoav, it's obviously about making eventually a profit. Can you just tell us your financial model? How does it work?
Yeah, so eventually we are a software company that happens to have hardware. This is how I like to call it, because our brain is in the software, even though we do have a hardware. The reason being, by the way, because we couldn't find off-the-shelf hardware that will solve our problem. So we also went and developed the hardware that will fit into those drones and everything. And then I don't want to say taking advantage, because we're trying to help our customers grow, but the fact that we have both, we can leverage that into interesting and more sophisticated business models, which we have the one-time fee, which is for the hardware. So those units will get the hardware to be integrated into their drones. The product name, by the way, is Halo. That's how we call the product. And then on the other side, it must be connected to our infrastructure. So they have the long tail of the sale of the subscription, which we create the recurrent revenue, and that's how we create the compound effect. Adding to that, I would say that one of the reasons why we are currently still doing direct sales and not going through sales channels like resellers, distributors, and others, because we still feel that we have a lot to learn for our customers, and we want to be as close as possible to those customers. And the way it's connected to our business model, because we're constantly looking for customers' needs, pains, and challenges, and provide them with more solutions that plays into our revenue stream or to our growth engines. Just to give you one example, which become a very meaningful example of what I'm talking about, is the data connectivity. Okay, part of the infrastructure that we are relying on is the cellular infrastructure. So in Australia, think about the Telstra and the Optus of the world. In the US, we can talk about the Verizons, AT&Ts, and T-Mobiles of the world. And those companies provide the actual infrastructure, right? And we detect that it's a very high friction for our customers to go and to buy those, to do contract with all those different operators, wherever they are. It doesn't matter if it's in Australia or in the US or anywhere else in the world. And we thought that, okay, let's see how we reduce the friction to our customers by providing them also the communication, the SIM cards, the actual SIM cards like you have in your iPhone. And then we found out that there is a very, very, very interesting revenue stream coming from that, which provide us a more advantage and also provide solution to our customers. So it's kind of a win-win situation. And that's how we connect everything together. I would say that we're always looking to how we move more way to be on the recurrent revenue, both because it's right to our customers. Again, it's all start with happy customers. That's
Yes.
my personal belief. So if you find a model that works better for your customers and over time, and we're not hiding it, make it more profitable for us, that's a perfect win-win situation and that's why we create what we call Halo as a service, HaaS. Everything must be as a service, right? We're talking in a SaaS models and everything. So
right,
instead of software as a service, we call it Halo as a service, which basically meaning that we provide the hardware as part of this package, and then the capex investment of those partners are much lower. It's easier for them to deploy more and more systems into the field. And over time, they will pay more because of the monthly fee are a little higher, but they will pay it only once they generate, not only once, but when they feel that they start generate revenue on their models, then they will pay for us and it will make the friction much lower and more profitable for us. And this is how we structure it. It was a long answer for a short question, but I hope it was clear.
No, it was. And just also to go back to, you started out by saying the direct sales channel, which I think that this is a really important part, for people to know. Being close to that customer, especially as a young business, do you almost feel like it's just too risky to risk that relationship with an indirect channel? And who knows if the person shows up, if they really care or not about your product?
100%. It's come from both sides, by the way. First of all, we don't have yet the confidence that someone will be able to explain and sell it as we do it. Yeah. And that's, you need to create it, to make it into a cookie cutting machine, and then you can move on. And I'm feeling we're there, looking on the pace that we're onboarding new customers today, our average, and we are putting on our quarterly reports, the average is 5 customers per month, which is a very fast for this industry. Wow. Extremely fast for this industry. And that's why it brings us to where we are today. But on the other side, on the same side, like you said, being close to these customers, especially in rapidly evolving industry like ours, that's extremely important because you might lose opportunities to provide them with more solutions and to know where you can be better. We can always be better. I'm not saying that we're complete or anything close to that. We can always get better, and you want to receive this feedback and to iterate on this feedback and to make sure we provide the best product and services to our customers. And that's the only way to be there, to have a very intimate relationship with the customers. And we launched some of the videos, and I really like the quote from John Vernon. John Vernon, he's the CTO of DroneUp, the company who provide a service, like they are a Walmart company that provide a service for Walmart. He said, and he said in the end of this video, he said, quote, make sure you are, I hope I'm correct here, but make sure you are partnered with Elsight as early as possible. Make sure they know what you want to achieve, and they will help you achieve it. And that's for me the perfect example of the level of relationship we want to have with our partners. By the way, internally we'll never call them customers; they're a partner of ours. So yeah,
interesting. The use of language so critical, isn't it?
Oh yeah, 100%. I believe also in the private life, we spoke about feedback before and everything. It's all about language have a very hard weight on that, and we try to be very precise when we're choosing our words and make sure that, and again, everything is to provide, at the end of the day, better value to our customers, which will result better value to our investors and everything. That's the only way to create a sustainable business, and that's what we build here, basically.
Great. Hey, Yoav, I could spend hours talking to you, but we have to keep it short. In closing, if there were 1 or 2 points you want everybody that's watching this to know about Elsight, what would they be?
So I think that the one thing that I kind of touched, but I want to rephrase it maybe. I think as an investor, if there is a market that you are a believer, or you have the vision to see this market growing, to feel the potential. And when I'm trying to look for references, I'm looking on trying to think of companies who invested in Apple in 2006, 2 years before they launched the iPhone, or in automotive industry in 120 years ago. So then you want to look for the companies who have a good distribution, a good exposure to the market, and not choose a specific player, which is the drone manufacturer or service provider. So you want to go with those who provide, like I said, the Levi's or the sticks and shovels to those industries. And I think that's what makes Elsight special about it, because vision how Elsight will look like, we will always provide a technological solution to those industries to expand to their big life and to the big potential, sorry. And the list is endless, basically. From Tel Aviv to Australia, we can list what else we can do to provide them with and to scale with this industry. And I think looking on Elsight in the last 2.5, 3 years, seeing how we execute exactly what I was just saying, that creates a very interesting opportunity, or very interesting story. And that's the one thing I would like the audience to stay with.
Great. Hey, Yoav, thank you so much for your time. Incredibly exciting and incredibly insightful interview. Definitely stay in touch.